This video is brought to you by my latest book, How to Play Melodic Rock Lead Guitar, a comprehensive guide to doing exactly that, playing melodic rock lead guitar. This is not just some collection of scale patterns and tabs, although you do get plenty of those, but you also get an entire chapter on how to come up with your own licks, as well as video content, tutorials and demonstrations, loads of jam tracks, and all the way through I'm encouraging you to expand your fretboard knowledge and showing you how you can think in a more musical and melodic way. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Being Tuesday, we're doing a top 5 list, and as you've already seen the thumbnail and read the title, you've probably got a pretty good idea what I'm going to be talking about today. 5 incredible guitar players who I just can't get into, and this is as much a plea for help as anything else, because there must be something that makes these players so beloved by so many guitar players and fans alike, and what is it that I'm missing? So if you can point me in the direction of the track that you think will turn me on to any of these guitar players, then please enlighten me down in the comments. The idea for this video came after I did a couple of videos where I asked you guys to tell me the most overrated bands and the most overrated guitarists. And those videos were just a little bit of light-hearted fun, and most people got that, but some people just kind of didn't. But one very wise person in the comments section said maybe there's no such thing as an overrated guitarist, just a really good guitarist that you can't get into. And I thought, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So that inspired today's video. So here are the 5 incredible guitar players that I just don't get, starting with
Allan Holdsworth.
Now, the name Allan Holdsworth was one that I heard mentioned many times and read about in guitar magazines, and there was nothing but incredible praise for him, his music, his technique and everything, everywhere you looked. But being this was the late 1980s, and it was the UK. You had HMV, you had Our Price, you had WH Smith. Those were where you went and bought your records, or latterly CDs. His stuff wasn't on in any of the racks there. You had to go and seek it out. So eventually I found one of the little independent record shops and had to order a CD. And or did it come free with a magazine? I can't remember. I think I got the first one free with a subscription to Guitarist magazine. It's 30 odd years ago, I can't remember. But I remember the album was Secrets, and just the excitement that I had, and thinking, right, I'm finally going to hear this guy who is just so incredible that everybody is in raptures about him. And I listened to the CD and I'm thinking, what on earth is this? It was angular, it was dissonant, there wasn't, a melody anywhere to be heard, or not that I could detect anywhere, and it just made me think, I could hear his technique, I could understand that what he was doing was technically exquisite, and it was a little bit like the experience of you go to the circus and you see a guy riding a unicycle whilst juggling and balancing a broom handle on his head. Incredible technique, but in terms of it moving me emotionally, it just didn't. So I tried another album. Might have been Metal Fatigue, or I can't remember what it was, but I tried at least a couple of albums, and yeah. And the same kind of results, really. I just could not get my head round, what was going on, and it just didn't connect with me emotionally or musically. So if you have any suggestions that can make a boring old classic rock dinosaur find some joy in this chap's music, then, as I say, let me know in the comments. Next,
Joe Bonamassa.
This guy should really tick all the boxes for me. Barnstorming Les Paul and Marshall driven blues rock. What's not to like? I remember seeing, this is in the 1990s, I think it was one Sunday afternoon, flicking idly around the TV channels, and there was a documentary about a band called Bloodline that featured a very young adolescent, probably about 13-year-old young boy called Joe Bonamassa. and he made my jaw drop when I saw him on that documentary and heard his playing. Then we didn't hear anything more from him, and then about 10, 12 years later, dog's barking, can you hear? About 10 or 12 years later, he's on the cover of every guitar magazine every month, so naturally I checked him out, and again, it should have ticked all the boxes, but yet it just didn't. I couldn't just connect with it. It was a little bit like, well, if I want to listen to somebody that does the Gary Moore thing, I'll listen to Gary Moore. Am I being unfair there? Does he do... Is there more strings to his bow than that? Because, I'm just, I don't know. I should love this guy's music, but I just can't quite get there. Again, suggestions in the comments, please. Next.
John Mayer.
Again, a player from my sort of musical heartland, really. Kind of soulful, Hendrixy, Stevie Ray Vaughan-y kind of lyrical playing. And I remember there was a lady that my missus used to work with, and her husband was a big fan of this chap. And this is going back to around about the time when he was when I first heard of him. When my missus came back from the hairdresser, she'd been reading the gossip magazines and said, "Have you heard of a guitarist called John Mayer?" I said, "Well, no, I don't think I have." "Oh, well, he's dating Jennifer Aniston." And that was the first time I'd ever heard of him. And then, as I say, this lady that my wife worked with, her other half, her bloke, was a massive fan of him, and they were so excited they were going to see one of his gigs. Don't know where he was playing, but it must have been somewhere in this locality or within easy distance. And got an album. Don't ask me the name of the album. I can't remember. I genuinely can't. And the guitar playing again was absolutely stellar, absolutely fantastic, but I just found that the whole album a bit of a drab, dull, dare I say bland experience. And anything periodically, I wouldn't say I've kind of gone into a lot of depth, but anything periodically that I've listened to in terms of his output since then has always left me feeling the same way. Maybe I've missed the one golden nugget, the one thing that will unlock his playing for me, because I had exactly the same, well, a very similar kind of thing with Hendrix. It took me a while to get into his way of playing because, well, all you ever saw on the TV of Hendrix was, burning and smashing a guitar on stage. It was, it took me a while to kind of get what people saw in Hendrix. Maybe I'm missing John Mayer in the same way. Not that he burns and smashes guitars, but you know what I'm saying. There could be something that the essential ingredient that I need to have is yet to be found. If so, leave it in the comments. Next,
John Petrucci.
Now, maybe this is a case of it's the band that I'm not keen on in the genre of music rather than the guitar player himself. Dream Theater were a band that I was reading about in the pages of guitar magazines continuously in the mid to late 90s. And again, all of this universal kind of unfaltering praise for the epic, anthemic, progressive kind of heavy rock that this band were doing, and this virtuoso guitar player that was a large part of that. And then I finally heard them, and it's just, I think somebody described Dream Theater as sort of somewhere between Yes and Metallica, and that's not a territory that I'm familiar with or kind of comfortable in. I don't dislike, but that whole sort of 20-minute long progressive rock epic kind of territory that you would get from Yes in the 70s, Tales from Topographic Oceans and stuff like that. That's a hard listen, isn't it? It is for me. And couple that with the sort of the aggressive heaviness of a band like Metallica. I don't dislike Metallica. I even own one of their albums, the Black Album, but you knew that was the album it was going to be, didn't you? But it's just not an intersection that I live anywhere near in terms of my musical tastes. Again, I can't deny Mr. Petrucci's virtuosity on the guitar, but there's nothing about the music that he's best known for which connects with me. But then again, you know, I've heard maybe an album or maybe a few tracks off another album as well. So if there's an obvious one, if there's a track that you think, yeah, if only you'd listened to that, then you'd get what all the fuss is about, then again, in the comments section, please. Next.
Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yes. He had to be here, didn't he? Like all of these guitar players, the hype that preceded them, because in the UK, you couldn't go into, in 1987, you couldn't go into a branch of your local music shop chain and buy an Yngwie Malmsteen album. It had to be something that you went to a lot of effort to seek out, and you know, you had to get the shop to order it. And when I finally did hear him, it was just that experience of like standing in front of the fire hose. I've told this story many times, but when I finally did get what was the first album? Was it Rising Force? I can't remember, but certainly it was either one of his first couple of albums, and listened to it. I bought it on vinyl because I wasn't rich enough at the time in this period of the 80s to own a CD player. I used to have a mate who lived about a mile away, and I'd walk to his house to go and listen to albums that I had on vinyl, but he had a CD player, and you know, just to hear these wonderful new compact discs. So I didn't have a CD player, so I bought that Yngwie album on vinyl and put the needle on track 1, side 1, and okay, oh, this is good. Oh man, this guy's incredible. Oh, listen to that. Oh, it's so fast, such a virtuoso. And by the time I got to the end of side 1, it was like I was shell-shocked and somehow a little bit bored as well, because it was just this barrage of notes that I was I couldn't process, and so kind of, you know when you just tune out of something. People will often say that if you're criticising Yngwie Malmsteen, you are, jealous in some way, and well, I would just say that there are plenty of things that I can't play like Yngwie. I'm not going to even pretend that would be a realistic possibility. But just to say that because I can't play like him, that's why I'm not into his music, is a little bit like, I can't play football or soccer, as some people might call it, either. I've got 2 left feet. But, I'm not particularly jealous of the people who can. It's, because it's like, do you aspire to do that? No. Well, you're not jealous of the people who can do it. And Yngwie's style of playing is not really a style that I aspire to emulate, based upon what I've heard. Okay, but if you can point me in the direction of the most beautiful, heartrending, melodic, soulful example of his playing that will change my mind, then once again, down in the comments if you don't mind. So there you go, folks. Those are the 5 undeniably incredible guitar players whose music I just don't get. And if you can enlighten me even to one of them, I'll be grateful forever. So thank you very much in advance for that. And that is the video for today, folks. Let me know what your list is down in the comments as well, if you have such a list. I'd be interested to see that. But as I say, that's the video for today. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about stuff. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, I think, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.